Chapter 8 Effortless Path. This morning, while we were dressing, I heard Elle grumble and mumble to herself in sheer frustration. "What's the matter, old girl?" I asked. "It is very bad for a philosopher not to be able to think," she said, and we both laughed. And just imagine, people sitting for hours trying to control the mind, to make it blank, to still the thought process, and we have to make an effort to think. She was right. What a system, I thought. Thanks to God, or my karmic seeds, or to whomever it may be, what a good fortune to have come here. Went to his place. Elle was to join me a bit later. An old man was already sitting there, and he and Bhai Saheb were talking about jinns. The old man who was sitting opposite the Guru was saying that sometimes jinns come to a saint to be trained. To be trained in spiritual things? What for, if they themselves are spirits? I was amazed. Not only in spiritual things, but also to read or write or some other knowledge belonging to this world, he said. "Is it true?" I asked the Guru. "Sometimes it happens," he smiled. "Do you have some jinns whom you train?" He smiled this enigmatic smile of his when he does not want to answer and change the subject. 16th of November. In our system, the realization is achieved in one life. One need not come back. You have been here for 6 weeks. Do you notice how much progress you have made? The mind does not know about it, so how can I know? I didn't ask your mind, I asked you. I thought for a while. "Bhai Saheb," I said, "there is a difference. I always thought that I wanted truth badly enough, but now it is like a burning fire inside me, a longing, like an obsession." He smiled kindly. Told him that I saw a lot of violet color when I was at his place. Violet flashes of color even when my eyes were closed. You have a pure heart. There are 2 ways of lower and higher clairvoyance. Pitrayan and Devayan, respectively. You belong to the higher one. He looked out of the window thoughtfully. The light of the greenery, the foliage, the shrubs was reflected in his eyes, and his skin looked greenish, a face not really of this world. I suffer lately from heat waves. It usually starts in between the shoulder blades, radiates over the thorax, never lower than the stomach, never mounts to the head, then mounts to the head, making my forehead perspire. It never lasts long, perhaps half to 1 minute. Is the heart chakra responsible for it? Perhaps it is, but maybe it is not. As a rule, I don't tell which chakras are activated and which are not. The whole of one's life would not be long enough to open all of the chakras. In our system, it is done by dhyana. I myself have changed the system somewhat. I did it with the knowledge of my superiors, of course, my revered father and my revered Guru Maharaj. I discovered new chakras. In the scriptures, not all the chakras are mentioned. Not all the occult knowledge is given out at one time. Humanity progresses. The teaching, one secret, is now for everyone. At one time in the past, rich people were not supposed to know about it, but nowadays everyone is taught who wants to know and is earnest about it. Sannyasis, for instance, work mainly through the brow chakra. There is not much love in sannyasis. In our system, the heart chakra is mainly used. Of course, when the heart chakra is open, such force, such power is flowing through it that one forgets everything. One day, my revered father got an order from his Guru Maharaj to go and search for saints and yogis to ask them one question. "Can you give me something without an effort from my part?" "No," every one of them answered, "we cannot. Nobody can. Go away." He left our home, just in the clothes he was wearing, taking nothing with him, leaving his wife and children. And when he returned, several years later, he had the same clothes on, Or at least they looked the same to us. Have you heard of a system like ours, where the shisha does not need to make any effort at all? He looked at me with a smile, and I had to admit that I never heard of any. No effort needed. Just come here and sit. Everything is done for you. Why make an effort? Effort does not lead anywhere. If one is a real guru, a sat guru, and knows how to write on the back of hearts, the spiritual guide does not make conditions. He is like a loving mother. The child can be angry, can run away. The mother does not take it very seriously. She cares for it just the same and does not love it less because of it. Shishas can and do sometimes leave the guru, but the guru is never supposed to do so. And where can the shisha run away? Where can he go? Guru and shisha relationship is forever. If one is pledged to one's guru, where can one go? The guru is like an experienced rider, and the experienced rider makes the horse go where he wants. But shishas are not slaves. They are free, and even when the personality wants to run away, it is difficult for it to do so. The higher self knows better. Ours is the system of freedom, but the majority does not like it. People want contortions, hatha yoga, discipline, mind control, meditations. They are not happy otherwise. They think nothing is being done. Here I do not ask you even to pray. Just sit here with me. Even speech is not necessary. Only something one has to explain sometimes. We live in the epoch of the mind. Mind, manas, is the ruler. Most of the people here are not satisfied. They will not accept anything unless at least some kind of explanation is given. Our system has never been widespread. It is for the few, and it is from heart to heart, and the goal is reached in one life. But how many want truth, are prepared to surrender to the truth? Not with everyone is it possible, but it can be done. 17th of November. When already in bed, chatting with Elle, a sudden happiness pervaded me wave after wave, so light, so completely unconnected with anything belonging to the world. Woke up as bright as a bead. The special happiness was gone, but the body felt good and very fit. Exercises on the roof, bath, gardening, watered the lawn. After a hasty breakfast, went with Elle to the guru. He was dictating his correspondence to Panditji. We saw him tearing the receipt of a money order into small pieces. When Elle made a smiling remark about the smallness of the pieces of paper, he said with a shrug that some people apologize so much for nothing, so nobody should be able to read it. I refused these 20 rupees at first. It was in October, because they told me for what purpose this money should be spent. I'm not a slave. I won't be made a slave of anyone. If they haven't got enough faith in me that I will spend this money rightly, they can keep it. I surrendered somewhere. I am completely free. A master is a master, and nobody should tell him what and what not to do. I cannot be limited. In our system, we do not want slaves. Surrender is not slavery. Surrender is freedom. And shishas are not slaves, for they learn how to surrender. 18th of November. Have I understood correctly that in other systems the chakras are awakened one by one, and the lifespan of an individual proves to be too short for this process to be accomplished, so it can never be completed in one life? Is it so? In our yoga system, the ultimate result is achieved in one life by dhyana. Only one chakra is awakened, the heart chakra. It is the only yoga school in existence in which love is created by the spiritual teacher. It is done with yogic power. The result is that the whole work of the awakening, of quickening, is done by one chakra, which gradually opens up all the others. This chakra is the leader, and the leader is doing everything. If you want to buy a part of my property, do you go to the property? Certainly not. You come to me. You deal with the proprietor, and in our system we deal only with the leader. I told you once that we belong to Raja Yoga, but when you try to study Raja Yoga from books, you will be told, do this, do that, concentrate, meditate, sit in this posture. Today it is obsolete. Times have changed. The world is progressing. Those methods have been outgrown. They are dead. But our system is alive. It has preserved its dynamism, for it is changing with the times. 19th of November. Was a bit depressed this morning. Everything seemed to be so difficult, not worthwhile attempting even. While at Guru's place, I saw a very old man sitting there, and he was trying desperately to keep awake while the Guru was talking to him non-stop. It was really pitiful to watch how he hardly could keep his eyes open. Out of politeness, he just could manage to be sufficiently awake to nod from time to time or mumble something in assent. And clearly even this was a great effort. He was in a deep state, and the Guru kept tearing him out of it quite ruthlessly. It seemed cruel to the poor old thing. "Bhai Saheb, you are quite cruel," I laughed when the man had left. He lifted his eyebrows. "Why?" "He has to learn how to come out of it quickly, up and down, so to say, in and out. The consciousness has to be able to return rapidly and efficiently. The time comes for some people, not for all, when the state of dhyana becomes so sweet that they are inclined to spend too much time doing it. We are in physical bodies. We are not intended to pass our time in an unconscious state." I kept quiet. I had better get used to the idea that whatever he does is done for a purpose, and stop criticizing. There are 4 kinds of saints. Maschu, always merged, mostly under vibration. Salik, on the path of dhyana, conscious and unconscious, progressing. Salik bil masu, dhyana with love becoming warm. Masu ba bil salik, burning with flames, fully conscious in unconsciousness. I asked many questions for the sake of asking, some of them futile, some silly. I did it just to taunt him. He said I should not do it. It is projections or distractions of the mind, restlessness of thought. It is bad, and nothing has ever been solved by the mind. L told me that I was discourteous, and he is far too patient with me. Opportunity may come once in a lifetime. If missed, who knows how long you will have to wait for another one. Lives, perhaps, who knows. I feel you are missing an opportunity. Be careful not to miss the boat. Her eyes, very blue, very serious, had a sad expression. To miss the boat. A feeling of exasperation seized me. I simply must. Somehow I must stop, must accept. But how? I did not know. 20th of November. Last evening I fell asleep when sitting in the usual corner on the tachet in Guru's room. Nobody saw me. It was so still and quiet and dark. L was in deep dhyana. I did not sleep for the last few nights, but felt no tiredness, no sleepiness in the evening, just as it was at the beginning. L always told me that the tiredness is the result of fighting the thing. I presume she means the impact of spiritual power. I am as fresh as could be in the morning. The brain is clear, feeling full of energy. There are 4 different stages of progress. Salak enters the arena. The danger is the manas mind, i.e. doubts. Sarupa, to become like that. Danger of Satan, pride. Sami, so near that one cannot say if they are 1 or 2. Danger, devas. They revolt so that the human may not be their master. In other words, that would mean all the illusions from which people suffer, clairvoyance, vision of devas. Sayuj, perfectly united so that all the stages become one in oneness. Danger of soul. They think that they have realized everything and reject God and the Master. Inflation according to C.J. Young. First comes realization, later consciousness, full knowledge of realization. For instance, I'm in Delhi. That is a realization of the fact of being in Delhi. But you may not know Delhi. Only if you know the town, street by street, have you complete knowledge of it. In the mystical states, there is at first fulgurant contact, very fugitive. Later, continuous absorption, which is a permanent state. And the third is swabhava state, where the experience becomes part of one's nature. Sahaja, one dwells in one's proper nature, and one is master of it. This is effortless samadhi according to the Vedantins. Sufis call the first state hal, the second makan, the third fanafi al-haq. 21st of November. Dream. I remember only the end of it, when I and either my sister or L came into a very large empty room which was closed until now and full of dust. We sat on the mats or rugs, and in the room were a few smallish animals, which I knew were deer spiders. They had the body of a tiny deer, not larger than a weasel, but in the place where should have been its head, they had tiny tentacles like octopuses and wicked eyes. I knew they were very dangerous, and I was afraid of them as they tried to come near, but my sister, or L, was telling me that it is enough to swish them away with my shoe, and they will go away. I did as I was told, and they did go. Later we came back into the same room after many happenings of which I remember nothing, but this time I did not see the deer spiders, and said so to my companion. But suddenly I saw one coming right at me, intending to attack me. I grabbed it at the back of the neck, as one does with snakes, pressing its head to the ground. "Give it to me," said an old man with a beard coming towards me. I said I could not, because if I let go it will bite me. But he did not listen and got hold of the animal. And as I was letting it go, it swiftly turned around, got hold of my finger, and while the old man was tearing it away, half my finger came with it, the teeth of the animal tearing at it savagely. It did not hurt, but looked rather bad. Interpretation. Something savage and dangerous has been taken away, wounding you. Things do happen, and how will you know that they are happening? You were told so in a dream. Didn't he say a while ago that some force had been used on me? Couldn't that be the meaning of the dream? Slept well again. Told him, though, that if he does not sleep, it is not proper for me to sleep either. Maybe later, not yet. And he smiled. I always knew when I said something which pleased him by a radiant smile half hidden in his beard. Dusty furniture, large room full of dust, never opened before, wicked animals, old man with a beard. Very significant from the Jungian point of view. 22nd of November. Once he said that love is created or produced in the heart of the disciple by the yogic power of the guru. How is it done? I asked. Elle was dressing after her bath and stood in front of the mirror, powdering her face. I don't know, she said simply, examining her forehead closely. But how can I be made to love him? He is a stranger to me. I respect him. He intrigues me. I find him immensely interesting. But love? No, there is none of that. And how is it to be understood? She was outlining her lips with lipstick with deliberate slowness. Well, she said, looking at my reflection in the mirror and wiping off a small smudge from the corner of her mouth. Well, the disciple progresses through love. Love is the driving force, the greatest power of creation. As the disciple has not enough love in him to have sufficient of the propelling power to reach the goal, so love is increased or created simply by activating the heart chakra. But how can I love him just like that? I was puzzled. She narrowed her eyes to a slit, and for a while said nothing, just looking at me in the mirror. Are you sure, she said, are you sure that you will love him? I stared at her. But, I began, are you quite sure that it is him that you will love? The electric kettle began to boil. She turned quickly away and began to make tea. What did she mean? Could it mean that the love is not really to the teacher, or only apparently so? So that would mean I understood. And all went very still in me, very, very still. What was it? Because something was, I said to him as soon as he entered. But he turned and stood at the open doorway looking at the pink, soft sunset sky. Tall and erect, he seemed quite young, seen from the back. What was it? Just as you have felt, he said, entering the room, and sat down in his big chair. I came about 5 p.m. Elle was to come a bit later. His wife was in the room with a grandchild. When they had left, an idea occurred to me that he might be doing something yogically, of which my mind can know nothing. I proved to be right. It came like a flood of something hitting me. It was almost physical. Nothing definite, just a feeling. The rhythm of breathing changed briskly. The heart seemed to go mad, racing, then missing beats, then going slow, stopping, and then racing again. It was definitely uncomfortable. My head began to swim, and I felt giddy. Tried to compose myself looking at the pink sky all aglow with the setting sun. The door into the garden was open. A small breeze was rustling in the leaves. All the time I was wondering what exactly was done to me. He went out of the room after a while. When he came back, I asked him what it was, but he did not give a proper answer. He just mumbled something into his beard and sat heavily into the big chair. I told him what I had felt. He only smiled. Told him that lately, in the last 10 days, Elle and I checked our pulse rate. It was always around 60. And a few nights ago, mine was much slower, so slow that I began to wonder. Last week, you told me that you wanted a miracle. You said that it will give you faith, will stop your doubts. What was my answer? That you would not have believed them anyhow. Besides, miracles are not produced on command to satisfy curiosity. But how many miracles did happen to you since you were here? If you sleep or not, it makes no difference. The body is not tired, and in spite of the low rhythm of the heart, you feel no tiredness either, but are fit and full of energy. My normal pulse rate is around 110. A doctor, if he would examine me, will think that I have a high fever, but I have not. I said that probably later on my heart will also beat very quickly, and I will not sleep at all or very little as he does. I was told that after a while a disciple's vibrations are adjusted to those of the teacher, even on the physical plane. He nodded. If I understood you correctly the other day, the teaching is given according to the stage of evolution of the Shishya and according to his temperament. Truth is only partially revealed, more and more as the progress goes on. So if I believe in karma and reincarnation, you will talk to me accordingly. To Elle, who does not believe in either, you do not mention them at all. It is of no importance if one believes in those things. And if one believes or not in the great hierarchy, karma is, evolution is, humanity is taken along in its progress. If they believe in certain things or not, it makes no difference. I never mention those things to Miss L. What's the use? It is not at all important what one believes in our system of freedom. In a sudden glow of affection, I told him how glad I was that I came to him, that it was the most wonderful thing that could happen to me, and whom have I to thank for it? Thank your higher self, he said. But somebody came at this exact moment, and we were interrupted. Must ask him on a next occasion, what exactly did he mean? When Elle came this evening, we went for a walk, the three of us, the Guru, and I, and Elle. Recently, you have said that we have not been asked to pray, but can we pray? He said one can if one wants to. Told him that I will write down the prayer I did for years and show it to him, but he said that the prayer is not with words, never. When asked again, he said, the prayer is perfect unity with God, and only this is real prayer. When going home, I told him I felt hopelessly discouraged. Even do not know how to pray, so it seems. The state of dhyana is what spiritual progress is all about. I feel like a child left outside the fence when a circus performance is going on inside. Dhyana seems to be a ring past knot, which one has to cross on the way to God. As we were passing Pushpa's house, I stopped at the gate to go inside where the kirtan was already in progress. They continued to walk on. I stopped to look at them walking along in deep conversation. Somehow it seemed symbolical. They were going away, leaving me alone, to join a crowd of singing people, a ceremony which had no meaning for me. Felt very low and deeply discouraged.